Hey, boys, where's your originality, huh? Hey, this is shit. It's shit! Get it up, me, Frost! Get it up! It's shit! It's shit!
Sorry about Perrin in the show. It's not my fault. I tried. Oh, how I tried.
Who is Brandon Sanderson? Well, he's an extraordinarily accomplished fantasy writer. He's also the author of 3 books in the Wheel of Time series that he continued after Robert Jordan's death in 2007.
So, way back when, Baby Brandon, he's part of the Wheel of Time fandom, right? Wheel of Time fandom was hardcore. Robert Jordan often didn't want to answer questions because they would spoil future books. And so he developed something he called Read and Find Out.
Now, obviously, it was that direct experience writing the Wheel of Time series that led to him becoming a trusted resource and go-to for the development team of Amazon's Wheel of Time adaptation. If you want to know what the actual author of 3 books in the Wheel of Time series, who was an actual producer on the TV show, has to say about what he does not like and why he is not a fan of the adaptation, here we go.
Sorry about Perrin in the show. It's not my fault. I tried. Oh, how I tried.
The character and backstory of Perrin. Why did Rafe Judkins make this change? Well, in Judkins' own words, here's his rationale. People felt like they really didn't know Matt or Perrin, especially until later in the books. So one of our big tasks was to make sure that each of these 5 kids from 2 Rivers, they're not kids on screen, are they?
That's called a fuck around entanglement. It will rock the axis here, the fuck around axis.
Were there any particularly difficult cuts or changes that you had to make, or something that you missed out on showing that you really wanted to?
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
I mean, we could do so many interviews about all the things that I had to cut out that I didn't want to.
You were the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy this and not join them.
I think, for instance, I love the journey that Matt and Rand went on of going from, kind of village to village, inn to inn, sleeping on the side of the road. There's so much of that in that first book that I loved. And
I don't believe you.
We, for production reasons, but also storytelling space reasons, had to condense that down into the one town that you saw in episode 3. So that, that's an example of what we tried to do sometimes, was keep.
It's bullshit.
The spirit of that whole story that they had, but convey it in something that could be in 8 episodes of television.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I loved that scene. I think that one in the mining town really encapsulated that.
Are you crazy? Is that your problem?
Everybody, if you happen to not like the show, don't rag on the writers and creators. They tried to. There's certain things, forces moving. You can know that Jeff Bezos at one point said, I want Game of Thrones, buy it for me. And they're like, you can't have Game of Thrones. It's like, buy me something that is my Game of Thrones.
Wheel of Time itself is not chasing Game of Thrones.
No, I'm just going to call bullshit on you.
It is not chasing Lord of the Rings. It is something that exists on its own, and other things will chase it someday. And are now, even people talk about Wheel of Time as a comp for things that they're trying to make because of the success the show's had.
Are you serious?
It's bullshit.
Well, I didn't like what they did to Perrin. Hell, I didn't like what they had done to any of the main characters from Emmons Field. But here's the thing. What I think doesn't really matter. What the guy who wrote the Wheel of Time book series thinks, that matters.
It's their show. They can do what they want.
In a long post on Reddit, Brandon Sanderson lays it out. Quote, "The biggest thing Rafe Judkins and I disagreed with was on Perrin's wife.
Look what you did. You killed my wife. No, I didn't. Yes, I did.
I realized that there is a good opportunity here for Perrin to be shown with rage issues, but I didn't like it being a wife for multiple reasons. First off, it feels a lot like the disposable wipe trope, aka woman in the fridge.
Use of automatic contact freezing puts food on or below a frying freezing surface.
Beyond that, I think the trauma of having killed your wife is so huge, the story this is telling can't realistically deal with it in a way that is responsible. Perrin killing his wife and then going off on an adventure really bothers me even still." Unquote. That's the guy who wrote the last 3 books of the Wheel of Time series. So if you're a fan of the books and you have a big problem with that and a whole host of other issues,
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
you're not crazy. Sanderson continues, quote, "I suggested instead that he kill Master Lohan. In the books, that is who Perrin is an apprentice to, and he is the blacksmith in Emmons Field and also sits on the village council." Back to what Sanderson has to say, quote, "As much as I hate to do Lohan dirty like that, I think the idea Rafe and the team had here is a good one for accelerating Perrin's plot. Accidentally killing your master steps the trauma back a little bit, but gives the same motivations and hesitancy."
And there are certain forces at work. Rafe really went to bat for me. I presented a completely different thing to do with Perrin that would still get what they wanted. You can get all the same beats without doing the thing you did, and then he also won't be traumatized for the entire first season, and you can actually go on a fun adventure with his friends.
But wait, Sanderson isn't done. Here is the quote of the year.
You done fucked up now!
"The one thing I don't want this Wheel of Time adaptation to try to do is lean into being a tonal Game of Thrones replacement, i.e., I don't want to lean into that grim dark idea."
And they said no. So,
what is fascinating, and how Sanderson tries to reel that whole thing back a little bit, is when he says, quote, "It's not an adaptation of the books to me. It's an adaptation of the next time these people are living in this story."
See, now that's some bullshit.
yeah.
We have to move at an incredible pace to do 8 episodes a season. Even just adapting one book in 8 episodes is very difficult.
There are some really good writers on that show, and they are working very hard to give you a fantastic experience.
I should mention that I haven't seen the whole season. People will be wondering, what? No, I'm jumping. I've read all the scripts. I have not seen the whole season. This is the first chance I've been able to sit down and watch.
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
There's just lots of forces at play. I'll just say that.
I think that Amazon and Rafe Judkins strayed so far from what this book series, the characters, the canon, the tone of Robert Jordan's work is that at some point, Brandon Sanderson had to distance himself in a way that didn't violate his legal obligation and NDAs. That is my opinion, though.
So, you know, there's some very wonderful things about that show. Most of them are people named like Rosamund and people like that.
You play ball, we play ball. I know you want the goodies.
So the question is, if I am going to do film or television adaptation, do I want to adapt one of my works or come up with something new for the medium?
Well, we're waiting.
It is one I've given a lot of thought to, and I've eventually settled on the first thing that I do.
Damn it, why? Say it! Say it!
Needs to be an adaptation of a work. This is because for Hollywood to invest the kind of money we're asking for, then they are going to need it to be proven.
I know you want the goodies.
One of the reasons they go to books so often is because they're looking for the things that have already been successful in one medium. Not a guarantee they'll be able to adapt it. In fact,
Or you can grow a conscience in the next 5 minutes and see where that takes you.
in fact, it's a really big challenge, but at least as a way to go to the money people.
Welcome to the goodie room.
You paying attention?
And be like, yes, we want $300 million. And they're like, oh, really? Why? We can be like, well, this thing has sold a lot of copies. It is a proof of concept.
Yeah. Smack it up, flip it, rub it down.
But we got to start with a book adaptation, just the nature of the way the business works.